Okay, I guess here we are. We live in such a crazy world that I'm in my room alone and there's no one in this room but me, and yet with the press of a button, I'm apparently talking to like millions of people. Probably not millions, I wouldn't flatter myself. You know, it's a Monday night, for God's sake. Well, hi everybody. For anybody who's watching this either in real time or watching this later, I'm Darren, and I'm coming to you live from Rome in Italy. It's currently 1 a.m. here. I'm shooting a film, so this is the best time for me to do things, so things in States can be a little easier to watch. Before we get going, I just want to thank everybody from the Society of Composers and Lyricists for gathering questions ahead of time that I can answer. Just figured that'd be better. And maybe if we have time, maybe afterwards I can ask some questions as I see them. So I see quite a few on the sidebar there. If people are watching this have already heard the answers to these, I apologize, but there's a lot of people who haven't. I'm assuming a lot of people that are watching this, you know, aren't in the Society of Composers and Lyricists, and that's okay. But all the same, I'm gonna kind of gear these questions towards those individuals. So I guess one of the questions we picked was, it's a lot of Glee stuff. I guess that's what we're here to talk about. Kind of my involvement with Glee, how it all started. Well, just like any actor going out for any show is an audition. I guess people who aren't in the industry tend to think that, you know, it finds you in some kind of way, like I was picked from relative obscurity, even though in my mind I auditioned for the show, like you would audition for The Big Bang Theory or for any film or anything. So I auditioned for it. You know, things went well. Again, I apologize to the people who've heard this before, but I had auditioned for it several times before for other parts, and Blame was the one that just happened to work out. And I ended up being on the show for like 5 years, something like that, which is crazy because that happened in the flash of an eye. So I guess we'll talk a little bit about writing music. When did I start writing music? Well, I guess I always did. I mean, a lot of people write music without really even knowing it. Like, even if they're just joking with their friends, they kind of sing the tune and just sing something silly. That's writing music. It's just the actual execution of organizing it and writing it down so it can be repeated and sung by other people or sung by yourself in the future. So I always played silly songs when I was a kid. I was a violinist most of my life, and then I picked up the guitar somewhere along the way because it was just around. Violins are very precious. You can't just pick them up and play whatever. You can, but you're very, you know, delicate about it. So I'd always sing silly songs with my friends when I was a kid, and this kind of caught on, and so people would be like, play the silly one about that or the silly one about that. And that evolved. Eventually when I got to college, my friends would say, hey, why don't you just write songs for my show? Because I wasn't like a songwriter. I was an actor. I'd play in bands and write songs every now and then, but I never thought of myself as like a songwriter. And so I started writing some music, and I really enjoy it. And I think I've been lucky because I've mainly written music for specific people and my friends and people that I know their voices, I know where they're coming from. So it's actually a joy to kind of, you know, handcraft something for somebody else. And, you know, I had this theater company, Star Kid, that got started after college, even though we wrote most of the material and created it in college, that took on a life of its own. And I became like a songwriter for the company. And that kind of gave me more and more confidence to do that in general as a career. I wouldn't call it a career, but it's certainly a more serious hobby than just for fun. So that's kind of how I got to Glee, when I, you know, wanted to write a song for Glee. As far as, I'm literally just going down the list of questions that we've organized beforehand. For those of you that know me, you know that I can go on and on and on and on. So stay tuned. You tuned into this, so if you get bored, you can always quit out or just go on your Twitter or something while I drone on in the background. But what was my inspiration for this time? That is the song one of the songs that I ended up writing for Glee, the season series finale. It came from just years of doing Glee and always wanting to write a song. I felt really hesitant about doing it because in my mind, and even till the end, I always felt like the new guy, even though there were new people. I wasn't there for the first season. I wasn't there when it became this huge phenomenon. I kind of jumped on the coattails after the fact. So I kind of built this weird neuroses about being, not in the position to request things like, oh, can I do this or that? So when I finally figured I have nothing to lose, I should just ask if I can write this song, I wanted to make it count. And so anytime I'm on the piano and I'm noodling around with sort of musical theater-esque things that don't really sound like a typical pop song, but that are too elegant for a pop song or too, too big for the kind of music that I would write, I always think, oh, I'll just put this in a Star Kids show one day, which again is that company that I had with my friends, and continue to have. So I thought, oh man, this could really work for Glee if I ever did a song for that. So that always sat in the back pocket. It was this very sort of, for those musicians out there, it's sort of a typical form of a song, of a pop song. I won't go into the musicology of it, but it's not, it's a very familiar structure that seemed appropriate for the world of Glee and the kind of musicality of a lot of the pop songs the original pop songs that they have sung. So I didn't want to go complete left field and do, a very musically complex thing that my friends from music school would think that is cool. I was like, no, let's make something accessible and something appropriate for this medium. And so that was this time. And I think the hardest part about writing that song was really nailing the lyrics. I think for most musicians, you can sit and play the piano or guitar all day and you can come up with alternate voicings and melodies. And it's just really finding the perfect marriage of a lyric and a melody, which is, what makes songwriting so fun is that chase. And so, I tried to make it as pop sounding again, but as musical theater as possible, the kind of the fusing of both worlds. There are things, naughty things that you don't do in musical theater, or at least they're doing it more and more nowadays, but half rhymes and slant rhymes and non-perfect rhymes. For those of you lyricists out there, I kind of felt guilty, but I was like, this is Glee, it's pop, it's modern, I think it's okay if I do half and half. So I try to kind of marry the academia of my love of writing for musical theater and my enjoyment of writing for pop music into one thing. So that's the lofty part. Forgive me. This one is, I'm answering questions as if I'm answering to the Society of Composers and Lyricists, as opposed to my dear friends out there who are just fans and supporters. So I'm sorry if this is boring to you. Yeah, that was a fun chase for me, is when you really get in my head and people just think people write songs, but I'm very methodic and very mathematical about stuff. It's not like, oh, that would be fun. I spend days and hours, and there's pages and pages and pages of alternate rhyme schemes and things just to get the best one. And ultimately you have options, and then you just ask people, and Lea Michele, like, hey, would you sing this, or would you sing this? Does this word sit better for you than this word? And so they kind of get to tinker around with it, because if I think something sounds cool but it's hard for Lea Michele to sing, then there's no point for me to write that. So yeah, there we go. It's fun talking about this stuff. I don't really get to talk about it a lot. So did I want to sing this time? No, I did not want to sing this time on the show. I specifically didn't want to sing any of the songs that I had written on the show. I don't need that kind of attention. I don't really, I prefer hearing other people sing songs that I've written, unless it's something that's incredibly personal. But if I've kind of written it for other people, then I don't really need to do it myself. I'll do it for fun every now and then, but I didn't want it to look like some kind of vanity project, although I hope it wouldn't have been perceived that way. I wanted people to experience the song and not like the sense of Darren singing the song that he wrote. Let's see how it is. I really wanted the moment and the feeling of the song to be the kind of main player in the functionality of the song, which I think we tried our best to do. How did you feel the first time you heard Lea Michele singing your song? Oh, I mean, geez. I've said this many times, but Lea Michele is, I had these moments where I forget, I spent all these hours with her, that she's such a fabulous singer, a really, really good singer, and such a great singing performer. Because there's people with good voices, and then there's good performers, and she's got the best of both. So hearing her, you know, when you write songs, you kind of hope for certain things. You hope that this note sounds this way, or that they kind of hug this consonant or squeeze this vowel. And, you know, ultimately when a singer does something on their own, there's such a magic to somebody being individual that kind of goes past whatever expectations or hopes that you had for it. I don't have any kids, but I imagine that's very similar to having kids, where you have these hopes and dreams for this thing you've created, and ideally, hopefully, it surpasses those hopes. So that's kind of what happened with Leah. It was great because it was a voice that I was familiar with, but it was a song that I had only heard in the abstract. So to have her make it concrete was really, really, really extraordinary. I think that's really what takes the song home, is the emotional weight that she packs into what she records, into what she performs. Did you get a lot of input from the show? No, actually it was the other way around. When we got down to the wire, I'm such a non-confrontational person that I didn't want to like shove this down anyone's throat. I didn't want to say, hey, do this song. And like, as the show was coming to an end, I was like, man, I really need to, I guess, step up my game and be a little more assertive. And I just had to, I recorded a very crude demo of what I'd had for the song. And I remember playing it in my trailer, kind of at my wit's end, thinking, oh my God, this isn't going to work out. I blew my chance at having this. And I was sitting in my trailer, and I played it for Dante Di Loretto, one of our executive producers, and he's always been a great friend and a great collaborator in many things that I've done. And so shout out goes to Dante Di Loretto. He heard it, and he, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a total tool, but he teared up, and I was really touched by that. That was not my intention, but the experience could not have been more casual, I guess. You know, it was just me playing from my computer, totally like, here, what do you think? I just need your opinion so you can tell me whether or not I should really push for this or not. Like, just say, Darren, this isn't appropriate, and I'll stop. And the fact that even at its crudest level, at a demo, that he was moved in some way gave me a little bit of hope, even though I don't want to make him cry. It was very encouraging, and I was touched that he was touched. So that's when I went, okay, cool, I guess we have something here. And they really gave me free reign to do whatever. And just when I was finishing the last couple words, I just wanted to know from Ryan what happened in the last episode. And when I found out, I kind of made things more about saying goodbye. I mean, I knew it was going to be a goodbye episode, but there were certain words that I moved around in accordance with what was happening in that episode. But for the most part, I was flying blind, which is probably why it took me so long to write it. But we got there. So yeah, it's a horrifying thing not to have a lot of direction, but it seemed to work out in the end. Luckily, I'd had a lot of musical ideas and lyrics that have been sitting around for a while, that it was easy enough to convalesce into something that I think worked. How did you feel when the song was nominated for an Emmy? I mean, it's gosh, I was in the middle of doing Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and I jumped into that right after Glee ended. So it was just kind of like a nonstop. So many things were happening. You don't write. You don't write songs to like get nominated for awards, or at least I hope you don't. You don't do things for accolades. So it's just so beyond my like realm of possibilities. The fact that it was submitted was very cool in the first place. That, any of that stuff was cool. I was just psyched that they had it on the show, and this isn't like some game of humility here. If you realize saying that sounds probably false, but I do mean that earnestly. Like, I just didn't think that I'd be able to have a song on Glee. Like that TV show that everybody was watching when I was in college. This is before I was on the show. So the fact that I had not one but two, and then the second one be such a anthemic song for the last episode, that was reward enough for me. So just to go that extra level of like, wow, being acknowledged at that level, is really extraordinary. And so I feel like I've won. That's such an award to be even noticed. So yeah, it feels really cool, and to be mentioned with so many other writers that I know. It's like, wow, cool guys, like can't believe I'm in your club. Yeah, it was I remember it was kind of complicated actually, because then I had to answer to the press and I had a show to do, and I was like, I can't worry about this right now. But yeah, I can't stress enough how that's just such an amazing, humbling feeling. But it's also encouraging, I guess, because you go, anytime you're creating something, you go like, am I an idiot? Is this stupid? And most of the time it is. And I am an idiot. And I'm not saying I'm not an idiot. I mean, I'm still an idiot. But it certainly was like, all right, cool. Like maybe we should keep trying for this. And even before the nomination, I think the idea that the song, I got sent all these videos of people doing it at their graduations, which was something I totally didn't anticipate. That's so cool that people notated it. I certainly didn't notate it. Maybe somebody in a Glee office, publishing office did. But outside the stage door for Hedwig, I was signing that song. I was like, whoa, like that, I couldn't have done this. And hearing school choirs in high school do it, that was so cool. And again, that's really what it's all about. Okay, rambling on. Have we lost anybody? I'm sure we've lost a few. I hope you took my advice. Just like put this on the side somewhere and then do other things. Do your internet wormholing into some YouTube thing. What instruments? What instruments did you use? So it was mainly a piano song. I tend to write this style of music on the piano that has to do with just the kind of voicings you can use. You can use much more epic piano voicings, because you can do a lot of 4/5s and stuff like that sound much more grand on a piano than it would on a guitar. So yeah, I played piano on it, and I had a really, really crude demo of me singing it with all these harmonies and all these big parts. And Adam Anders, who produced the track, and the Anders brothers did it together. They split the vocals on the track. So shout out to the brothers Anders, who spent many years doing wonderful tracks for Glee. I think people who don't understand how the music industry works don't realize how incredible their work is and how hard their job was. So basically, they start from zero with a track. They'll hear like Jesse's Girl and then create everything from scratch. So they would hear my crappy demo on MIDI piano and like synth strings and synth, drum pads and everything. And I wrote, which I printed out for Adam, a 20-page something email with every meticulous note possible that I signed for him, because I'm crazy pants and I really wanted it to. I said the strings got to hit here. I need the drums to hit here, crash here, bass here. This needs to blend into this note. This needs to go into this, and needs to crescendo here. And I was crazy just because I knew once I sent it off to him, I'd have to get my hands off it. And I felt bad after they had spent all this time on it. I still went in there and had more notes. I'm crazy, but luckily he was nice enough to put up with my mania, and it came out exactly how I wanted it. So I really can't complain. So I mean, there's a whole orchestra on there. There's a lot of really amazing things. I mean, those are real strings on there. Okay, not orchestra, strings, I should say. Gotta get my terms right. Society of Composers and Lyricists. God, are we bored yet? Okay, good. Now the numbers are going down. That makes more sense to me. That makes way more sense. The sound of my voice is just putting you to sleep. So I'm not talking like I'm on Glee. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay, I think I'm gonna look at other questions. Did you play any instruments? Yes, I did, but then somebody else played it better. As a songwriter, who's your biggest inspiration? Everyone and everything. Everything's inspiring to me. LC Fest. I could plug LC Fest and Hedwig and all that stuff, and I'm going to. September 27th, New York City, starting a big musical theater festival that I've always wanted to do. It's gonna be fun. A lot of special guests. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. Oh, and then the numbers went down. Okay, cool. Don't talk about LC Fest. Talk about Glee. Talk about Chris Colfer or something. That's what gets everybody excited. What are these questions? I don't understand. How do I get these questions from people on this site? I have no idea. Group chat. Guys, how do I see your questions? How does this work? I thought Oh man. All right. And then they're just gonna, all the views are gonna go down. Shit. Okay. Well, I have other questions that we had from before, so I'll just keep going through these, and forgive me if they're lame. Who was the first person that listened to Human? Me. I listened to Human. It's the song I wrote when I was a teenager. Okay, is there a movie or TV show that you would like to be in, and what character? Yeah, but they're all done. That's the cool thing about theater, is that when you go to a play or a musical, you can say, oh, I want to do that eventually, and you can, if you're lucky, and they do it again, or there's a production of it, or you can put it up yourself. If you see a movie, that's it. That's been done, which is why I think so many people now are doing that thing where they do like musical versions of TV or movies. I mean, I did. Got to be Harry Potter, for God's sake. What else? Man, I would have loved to have been on Breaking Bad. That would have been amazing. But then the show wouldn't have been as good. Would have ruined it. So that's a moot point. Do you have any aspirations of scoring for television and film? As a matter of fact, I do. Scoring is completely different than writing songs, because you would have to. It's just a different process. It's something that I'd have to learn. But I think I could do it if I really kind of put my mind to it. I think many years down the line, it'd be fun. And especially when you're writing songs, then you can take musical motifs from those songs and put them into an actual score. And I have to be a better arranger and have to kind of brush up on my theory a little bit, but I'd like to do that. Did I formally study music? Yeah, I did. I mean, I studied, the only instrument that I ever had any formal training on was the violin. I started playing the violin as a Suzuki kid for like 10, 15 years, and I played in orchestra and string quartets. I mean, and all kinds of string groups, as it were. And I think that was where most of my music training came from. I just love how it's like, as the nerd factor goes up, the viewers just go down. But hey, listen, I'd rather have fewer people that are interested than more people that just want a selfie with one of my actor colleagues. Because that's all they want. They don't want to hear about me talking about music. Or do they? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so that was most of my musical training was from the violin, because I never actually had formal training on the piano. I have a lousy left hand on the piano. It's very octave heavy, and my guitar is all ear training, so I can't really read music very well, but I can hear stuff and play it, which is, I think, a result of years of Suzuki training, which is very aural based. So I always thought about, like, when I have time off, taking piano lessons for the first time. I think that'd be really cool. It'd be fun to go backwards after knowing how things are supposed to sound, and then learning the technique, and then going, oh, wait a second. Like, I remember there was like a good 10 years of my life where I knew a major seventh chord as, oh, the jazz chord. And then now, when I remember in college, somebody saying, it's called a major seventh. And I was like, oh, like, I was living in a two-dimensional world, and all of a sudden everything was in 3D after that. So that's where I studied music. Do I have any aspirations of writing a musical? Well, clearly someone asking this question doesn't know. I've written a few, but it's one of my favorite things to do. So I look forward to doing it again. And I have to say, one of the things that excites me most recently is working on a musical again with my friends in Star Kid. I think it's time to do that again, because that's just too damn fun to not do. And certainly writing for Glee has been encouraging for that. Have you ever sung the Star Spangled Banner at the beginning of a ball game? Wow, we're really going deep, guys. It's really like this is time to leave here. I mean, yeah, when I was in high school, I think I probably screwed up the words. Or actually, I didn't. I just thought I did. And then as a result, I thought it was terrible. There you go. I'm waiting to do it for real, man. Like, Giants game. Come on, 49ers. We're on top right now. Like, hit me up. New Michigan football season. I'm available. I'm free when I'm not in Italy shooting a movie. You were nominated for an Emmy alongside with Lopez. Oh, yeah, with George and Kristen. Not George Lopez. I just said George Lopez. Oh, my God. Sorry. Lopez is a common last name. I'm very tired. It's 2 a.m. That's embarrassing. Someone's going to make a GIF of that and send it to the Lopez family. I'm going to look like an idiot. That can't be the first time that's happened. Bobby Lopez and Kristen Lopez, who are a wonderful little couple. Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of getting to meet them and talk to them and spend a little bit of time with them. They're just as awesome as can be, and I'm so happy for their success. And so no, it's not intimidating at all. It's very it's amazing that, like I said, like to be included in their little club, if not for just like 2 seconds, for like 1 year's worth of nominations, which is nothing to them because they've been nominated like a gajillion times. So that's kind of amazing. Yeah, in the end, we're all just, artists trying to do our thing. So it's just fun seeing people you like along the way. Do you want to continue to write songs or concentrate more on acting? Look, I always say this, but as an artist, we can call it that, I'm a mercenary. It's my job to kind of do what I can when things come up. I try to choose projects, but sometimes things just come your way and you get them. Like, in another dimension, I didn't get the part of Glee, and then I would have had to do something else. So I love acting, but that work has to come my way, and I have no control over that, as much as I wish I did. As opposed to music, which I think I'm very much in the driver's seat of. For instance, I'm excited about writing a musical again with my friends from StarKid. I don't know what it is or when it'll be, but I'm in the driver's seat for that. I can just do that. I can sit down with them and we can do it and we can create it. I don't have to wait for anybody except my own sort of maniacal brain to be inspired to do that. So I kind of like switching off, doing a little bit of both, because it feeds both parts of my brain. Well, actually, it's part of the same part, which is just being creative and creating something new from scratch. But acting is a little more passive in the sense that you have to wait for that opportunity, whereas you can be more active with writing music. So it depends what comes along. What is your dream role? Well, I got to do Hedwig, so that was always a dream role. So check. I'm good on that. Love doing that, and I'm sad that it's over. I'm so sorry that, God, it's been half hour. I can't see any of your guys' questions. I'm so sorry. I don't know where they went. I saw them a second ago and I wrote some of them down, but now they're missing. So I think that's enough, right? You guys have been subjected to me for a while. Look, I'm just going to thank everybody for even spending the time with me to do this and just to see what I'm talking about. I would be bored. I would have checked out like 5 minutes in. Composers and who's assists, I'm out. And I would have gone to do something interesting. So thanks for hanging out or for watching this. If you're watching it after the fact, thank you again to the Society of Composers and Lyricists. Yeah, I hope we learned some things about me and about, writing this time for Glee. And, I love songwriting. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And I'm proud and happy to do it alongside with acting, because it's just acting in music. It's screenwriting, it's playwriting through music, and it's a treat to even be in a position where I'm at like a live stream talking about writing a song, on this level. And the Emmy nomination is such an honor that my mind is imploding. So I'm a happy camper, and thank you guys for hanging out and listening to me, and we'll see you guys next time. Cool. Ciao.